Ladies and gentlemen, we have finally reached the climax of the Swimsuit Symposium, as our resident Trinity pervert, Swimsuit Hanako, has finally arrived to Global in this week's Peak Archive update. And she has taken things to the next level by not wearing anything down there under that loose shirt. Wait a minute, isn't that our shirt? Give me a minute, it's correction time.
Plop, 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 plop. Get pregnant, get pregnant, get pregnant, get pregnant!
Anyways, in all seriousness, Swimsuit Hanako's banner is finally here, alongside Wakamo's banner. And so, here is a short review of Swimsuit Hanako and why you should pull for her. By the way, before we begin, I'd first like to thank all of you for helping me reach 1k subs. I honestly never thought I'd make it here, and it's a huge achievement and I really couldn't have done it without all of you. So thank you very much. I truly appreciate it. Now, onto the review. Swimsuit Hanako is the game's first ever Sonic student, who has heavy armor and is a DPS striker. She has S combat power in urban terrains, A in field, and D in indoors. And similar to a lot of other DPS units, she rocks this set of equipment. To understand her EX skill, I'll have to explain her sub-skill first. After using an ally's EX skill, the water gauge is charged by 40%, and each time the water gauge reaches 100%, she gains one water gauge charge and she increases her attack for 20 seconds. And you can hold up to 2 max charges at a time, so 200% total. With her EX, she deals damage to enemies in a fan-shaped area, and if she has at least one charged water gauge, she consumes a charge to immediately redraw her EX skill card, allowing you to use it again up to a consecutive 3 times if you have 2 full charges. The initial first time, then the 2 redraws. Her basic skill, which activates every 30 seconds, deals damage to enemies in a round-shaped area, while creating a circular zone which decreases enemies' defense for 20 seconds. Meanwhile, her enhanced skill increases her attack and crit damage, with UA40 increasing both these stats even more on her Enhanced Plus. And at UA50, her urban combat power upgrades to SS. I'm gonna say this straight off the bat, the BA devs really cooked when making her, cause god damn, she is an absolutely meta character. Why? Well, where do I even begin? First off, she is an extremely strong AoE damage dealer, since her EX can deal a lot of damage as it has good multipliers. Not to mention, she has a number of self buffs, including increased crit and attack from her enhanced skill, and even more at UA40, plus extra attack through her sub skill once she gains a fully charged water gauge, all of which allows her to deal massive damage with her EX. Not only is it strong, it is also very low cost, has good range, and you can repeatedly use it up to 3 times once she has 2 fully charged water gauge stacks. So with all of those combined, you can keep using her low cost EX skill to deal a ton of damage continuously to the enemy, which is pretty fucking broken. Not only that, her basic skill is very useful, since it not only deals decent damage, but it can also decrease defense in a circular area, allowing her to apply the debuff on multiple enemies at once. On top of that, her defense debuff is pretty unique, as it can actually stack on all the other types of defense debuffs. Finally, Sonic students are becoming pretty important since it is a new damage type, with Yosta and Nexon continuously adding more and more Sonic units to the game to deal with the new purple raid Kurokage and for any future purple raids. With that being said, as Hanako is extremely important, as not only is she the first Sonic student, she is also arguably the strongest, and will prove a vital unit in any upcoming purple content. Speaking of which, Swimsuit Hanako can be used in almost any content which requires AoE units, where her main role is to basically act as an AoE damage dealer since she can dish out very good damage. For PvE, you can bring her into Perorodzilla to deal with the mini Peroros while applying defense down on them, as Peroro has high defense, and Gauss Phase 1 to defeat the blue mobs. She is especially good in these 2 raids, not just because it requires AoE, but also because Sonic attacks deal 1.5 times damage against blue armor. And since she has yellow armor, she also takes less damage from mystic attacks. You could also use her in Cheese to handle the mobs, though Sonic does deal less damage to yellow armor. or Bina, where her role is to basically reduce Bina's god-awful high defense, or perhaps you could even try her in Gregorius, where she could possibly deal good damage against the mobs while helping with the debuff counter using her basic skill, and taking less damage since Greg's attack type becomes Mystic on Insane and Torment. Oh, and you can also use her in AoE joint firing drills, especially for blue and Sonic ones. However, her best use in PvE will obviously be for Kurokage, the brand new purple raid in JP. Now, I'm not too familiar with this raid yet, so I won't expand too much on it to avoid misinformation, so I apologize and please correct me if I do get anything wrong. Also, shout out to Sherlock Plays for making an excellent video describing the raid. I'll leave the link to their video in the description. Basically, Swimsuit Hanako shines in this raid, as for one, you need to use her EX, or any AoE EX for that matter, to be able to see and hit these flame things and fragments, which will only appear when you target it, and they will reflect damage towards Kurokage, kinda like Peroros minions. And as Hanako's EX can deal tons of damage to these flames, so when paired with someone like Kikyo who has Sonic effectiveness, well, it makes as Hanako the best Sonic DPS for this raid. These flames can also individually receive debuffs, making her basic skill extremely useful as it can apply defense debuff on multiple flames, and it can be stacked together with other students' defense debuffs, allowing her to deal more damage. Kurokage can also summon these wolf minions, which will self-destruct on your allies, dealing a lot of damage. So you can use as Hanako's EX to get rid of them pretty quickly. Finally, she receives less damage in the Insane and Torment difficulty of this raid, since Kurokage's attack converts to Mystic, which deals less damage against her heavy armor. Hence, all of these make Swimsuit Hanako absolutely essential for this raid, especially since there will only be a few Sonic students when it releases. And she is, in my opinion, the strongest Sonic unit for Kurokage. We're not done there though, as Hanako is also usable in PvP, because her EX is quite strong and it can hit multiple students at once, which is very much needed for this season's PvP. Not to mention, it is a low-cost EX, something that is excellent to have in PvP. Overall, you must pull for Swimsuit Hanako, mainly because she is such a strong unit to the point of being a meta student, and she would definitely give you an easier time in a lot of AoE content regardless of damage type, especially in raids. Not only that, she is one of the few Sonic students in the game, while being the strongest among them, and even though she isn't as important right now, she will be very essential in the future once more purple content is released. Finally, for those of you who aren't interested in the meta, allow me to convince you by saying this. She's hot and almost naked. And knowing that the BA devs are as degenerate as we are, those sly bastards knew exactly what we wanted when they made her. Still not convinced for some reason? Fine. Like for all fast banners, the 3-star drop rate on her banner and Wakamo's has doubled from 3% to 6%, which is a huge incentive to pull, since you have a chance of getting other 3-star units that you want or need, and it is also especially useful for newer players to get new 3-star students. Not only that, you also have a chance of getting the previous fast units, aka Wakamo, Mika, and S Hoshino in her banner, which is very helpful if you weren't playing during the time when these other fast students were released. So I would personally recommend you try to hit pity on her banner if you have the Pyroxenes, since not only are you guaranteed to get Swimsuit Hanako once you reach 200 pulls, but you can also take this opportunity to try and get new 3-star students, including the previous fast units. And that's all for the review. You might be wondering where the review for Wakamo is. Well, I wanted this video to mainly be focused on Swimsuit Hanako since she is the featured fast unit, so I opted to not talk about Wakamo. So Wakamo bros, I am so sorry. But I guess here's the TLDR of Wakamo. She is a pure blue DPS who is usable in nearly any blue content, and if she's fully invested, the DPS potential is very high. But she needs another DPS unit alongside her for her EX to really work. Also, she's hot, yanderes are love, yanderes are life, and her L2D is probably one of the best in the game since it has a banging soundtrack. But in my opinion, I wouldn't pull on her banner, and I will focus on Swimsuit Hanako's instead since you can still get Wakamo there. Anyways, I'll be streaming my own Swimsuit UE pulls on the 7th next week, and Swimsuit Hanako pulls on the 8th on Twitch. so feel free to stop by and watch if you like. I'll leave the link to my channel in the pinned comment. But once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for helping me reach 1000 subs. You guys are amazing. Anyways, good luck with your pulls, may the RNG gods be ever in your favor, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peak Archive is truly back, baby.